What's up, everybody? Welcome to our live Third and Longhorn postgame recap. Fellas, this one's going to be a fun one.
Easy, man.
31-12 drubbing of number 10 Michigan. It wasn't even that close. I think 31-12 sounds forgiving for what that game was.
Yeah.
Just, took them up and down the field. Defense was impressive. I want to hear you guys' quick thoughts. So, DJ, let's go to you first. Give me your quick thoughts on the game.
Man, I'm happy, man. Just, again, Texas is who we thought they were. That's just what it is. Every week we're going to keep saying that. Just total domination, going to a hostile environment, on the road, in the big house, not blinking. Man, I love that. Like the Sark, just hats off to Sark, just having a team ready to go, being able to stand up offensively, defensively, and just start early, stay late. I mean, the stats actually don't give, them.
Yeah, not at all. They don't paint the whole picture.
Yeah, it does not paint it at all. You really have to watch the game and say, oh, Texas is a lot better than the number 10 team in the country.
Yeah, I think they really came alive, especially during that first drive.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the most important drives for us, was to see how we come out,
So
especially
true.
playing in a big house like Michigan. I mean, that's a tough place to play at. And for them to come out and get some points out, even with a little bit of struggle with some couple penalties, but overall, I'm really satisfied with these guys coming out and getting this win.
Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't be excited about a win like that. Like, we saw everything we needed to see. Kind of piggybacking off AJ's point, I was impressed by how quickly we started the game. Like, I was never in doubt of us losing this game. I knew we'd win. I didn't know how we'd win, but I knew we'd win. Yeah. But I was more impressed by how quickly we started, man. We looked good in that first quarter. And now, like AJ said, we had a couple penalties, and I think that's what made it even more impressive, us getting over that early adversity. Back in the day, that adversity would have put us in a dogfight. We overcame it and put up 31 on them. So it was an impressive win, and I want to see more of that.
All right, I agree. Well, before we get too deep into it, obviously we're recapping Texas's 31-12 win over number 10 Michigan, formerly number 10 Michigan, and who knows where we end up. But I also want to get everybody introduced. Lifetime Longhorn legends today, and we got a special guest in the house. So I got Mr. Derrick Johnson to my left, and to my far right, I have Mr. Alex Okafor, and our special guest today, Lifetime Longhorn Aaron Williams, in the house.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Well, this should be a fun part of the conversation. Let's talk about the offense. And Alex, I know you and I were talking before we turned the camera on about number 3. And number 3 did his thing. Like, let's go into talk about how he handled himself and what he did today.
Yeah, so over the past couple of years, early in Sark's tenure and even before Sark got here, I know we were talking about these Texas teams aren't developing. A lot of fans said players weren't getting better in this system. Guys weren't developing while they got to Texas. Well, that is no longer the case. We look at a guy like Quinn Ewers, you see the development right there in the first quarter. Like last year, his biggest deficiencies was deep ball accuracy and how he handles pressure. The way he moved in the pocket today was impressive. Like the awareness within the pocket, not taking hits, stepping up to deliver the football, scrambling when he has to and getting down. Like, it was an impressive game by Quinn, and you'd love to see that development. And then you saw the deep ball accuracy to Isaiah Bond. Like, Quinn looks like the guy that we thought he would be. Last year, when people were talking about him coming out a little early, I thought it was premature. Now we get to see the finished product and what he looks like when he's sharp, and it was impressive to see.
I agree. AJ, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, like Alex said, Quinn showed a lot of maturity. Last year, you could tell when the pocket kind of collapsed on him, he was kind of scrambling around, didn't really know what to do. But the way he was patient, the way he was poised in that pocket, and then coming around, there were a few times where he could have scrambled and got some yards, but he stayed behind that line of scrimmage and let his receivers create the play even longer and be more accurate with his ball. So I'm really impressed with him. And also the O-line. The O-line helped him out big time, give him time to set his feet, give him time not really be touched in the whole game. And, man, what an impressive performance.
Totally agree. DJ, what are your quick?
Man, he's just a veteran, man. He's just showing you, hey, this is what I do. I have the guru in Sark when it comes to offensive mind, and he's just been working his tail off, and it's showing up. I mean, you go to the big house and handle that crowd, handle that pressure, and don't blink. I mean, that's a tough place to play. And their defense supposed to be really, really good, and we made it look pretty easy. I mean, I want to give the offensive line a bunch of credit.
Yes.
Not only protecting Quinn, but being able to run the ball. And we're talking Jared Gibson. We're talking Trey and Blue coming out a little bit. He was a little gimped up today, but just being able to have that next man mentality coming up, man, and man, they're just making names for themselves. We got a lot of depth from the receivers to the running back room, and Quinn is just like a kid in a candy store, man. I mean, he can do whatever he wants to do. He can hand it off. He can, play action. He can throw it down the field, and Isaiah Bond is the truth. The truth.
Man, I was so. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just kind of want to piggyback off DJ's point about the offensive line. Like, I know I was vocal last week about us not establishing the run offensively when I felt like we could have. Like, I felt like we should have.
It did.
Well, we did this week against Michigan. And that's the thing. I didn't think we would have established it this game. I thought Michigan's defensive line would have been a lot for us to handle. No, we were leaning on those boys. And when we needed it, when we needed those yards, when we needed a conversion, we was able to get that. Not saying we rushed for 200 on the ground, but we had moments on the ground and it controlled the ball.
Very efficient.
Yes.
And sometimes,
Yes.
And I always go back to the Chiefs because I watch a lot of Chiefs games. Sometimes it's not about, how many yards you rush for. It's the efficiency, when you run it, what kind of runs do you run? A jet motion over here, a fake over here, then hand it off over here just so you can open it up, just so they can have clear runs and play a little bit of smash mouth football, but just keep moving the chains. And when you talk about third downs, I mean, they were 3 of 12, and we were 10 of 15, 67% on third down. You over 50% third down on the road.
Yeah.
Especially there.
That's
also got to
it.
give a shout out to the running back because that depth right there. I mean, Baxter being gone at the beginning of the year.
These guys wasn't going to play.
And then
They wasn't playing.
Jaydon goes down.
Yeah.
So the fact that we have guys, like you said, the next man up, they showed out. They went up there. They didn't let the atmosphere affect them by any means. And they were stuck to the game plan, and they just were playmakers out there.
And props to Trey, like we don't skip a beat when Trey Wisner comes in.
Man.
But and props to him, like he plays so hard and he was so patient on his runs. But then add in like Jared Gibson coming in for really his first, I'll say meaningful minutes, nothing against Colorado State, but those were big minutes. And that drive, 3 carries, I think he had 26 yards and a touchdown. And he was running hard, man. But I mean, back to Quinn, I think the part of the game that I was so impressed by from him was the way he not only stepped up in the pocket, he ran when he needed to, he moved when he needed to. I'll say the plays that made me the most excited too were when he threw it away.
Yes.
Like there were I remember 2 instances where he put it in the ground and was just like, let's live to play another day. And like, I mean, when all the younger guys, they're going to throw that ball up and just see what happens. And they got athletes.
So Nick, I was just
did.
about to say that. I was like, the way he protect the ball, that's how you know you got a quarterback that you can count on. If you can protect the rock, I mean, and we got being smart with the ball, knowing that, I got big time receivers, we can run the ball, our offensive line is playing good, our defense is killing it right now. I don't have to do too much. So he's in a great spot.
You can tell he learned from his mistakes.
Yeah,
last year, because I feel like last year he forced a lot of balls to try to make that play.
Yeah.
But he was so much smarter. He let the play develop, and if it wasn't there, it's okay. Throw it away. Let's not lose the yards. Let's not hurt ourselves.
Right.
Which we did a lot last year, and he did a great job today.
Well, the more I see him, and he gets criticized for his off-platform throws, right? Because he's got an unorthodox style, he's got a little lower release, but it's pretty impressive to watch because you watch Mahomes, you watch people like that, they can get away with it, and he's got that arm strength that he showed on the first touchdown that got called back to DeAndre was impressive. I mean, that ball he was running right, coming almost across the field. I was like, that thing,
his body.
I thought it was going to get picked off twice, and instead it just go right through.
And knowing Aaron and myself, not so much Alex, he likes to rush the passer, but guys like when you're going against guys like Quinn, when they throw unorthodox like that, and he's this way, he's throwing this way, or his body's this way and he's throwing this way, that's hard for us as far as angles.
I mean, you always get a little nervous when your quarterback's running to the right and then throws across his body.
Yeah,
you're how long that ball has to travel to get to that receiver. So for him to make those plays, it's just like that's the Quinn we've been always looking for.
Yeah, and also I just kind of want to highlight what QB mobility looks like. When people think about mobile QBs, they think about the Michael Vicks, the Lamar Jacksons, that type. But you could have mobility and not be a runner.
True.
Like the way he moved within the pocket, the way he escaped pressure, the way he got down. Like to me, that's mobility, and that's the most important mobility right there.
Well, and I think our best segue to talk about the wide receivers was first off to to give props to our leading rusher, Ryan Wingo, who had 1 carry for 55 yards, a true freshman.
That was an impressive play.
It was a big run, man. I bet he's going to kick himself for getting caught, but I mean, he was caught by a pretty solid player. But huge play by him. And let's talk receivers now. And I think Quinn distributed it really well. But I want to hear from Oak about our tight end.
Gunnar Helm.
Yep.
When you talk about development, going back to that point about players getting better and developing within the program, I don't know if it's just a matter of him getting more opportunities in the receiving game or if he changed his body over the offseason, because he looks like a completely different player.
And I think catches 98 yards.
That's what I'm saying. He looked like the go-to guy. Yeah. And we've had these conversations. We have so many receiving options that we don't know who's going to be the guy each and every week. And this week it was Gunnar's week, which I wouldn't have expected, but he's shown the ability to be a pass catcher and an effective pass catcher.
I think the effectiveness that Bond and Matthews had a golden last week allowed Helm to get open a lot, because I think they were more frightened with the outside guys that they forgot we got a good tight end as well. And for them to not really, I think the deep threat was what they were concerned about from what we saw last week, and it opened up that middle field, and Helm just made plays over almost 100 yards a day.
Man. Yeah, I mean that's huge. Man. Happy birthday, by the way, Gunnar. Yesterday.
What a great birthday present, right?
That was a good way to celebrate. I'm sure he'll celebrate.
Going back to Oak's point, Sark has really developed these guys, because last year it wasn't. If you tell us that Gunnar Helm is going to do that, he was like, nah, that's probably not going to happen. You'll bet against that. But just again, what Aaron said, is so many options on the outside. We got. I mean, just not to name the names, but we got 1, 2, 5, 7, 11. We got all these guys on the outside ready to get the ball. 0, I hate that call was on that holding call. But again, Gunnar's gonna have his opportunities to catch balls and be open, especially if you're running the ball, being able to have play action to go with that tight end. Tight end is a really key spot, because people don't really. That spot, you can get open a lot from that spot. And now, some people are going to put him on their radar, but we got too much firepower on the outside.
So,
he's going to have
every position.
He just needs to be sure hands and stay healthy. I mean, I love his stiff arm too. Every time he gets it, he knows he's not that fast. So as soon as he catches it, he's like this, ready to go.
Well, he wasn't even supposed to be our receiving tight end, right? We got Amari Niblack from Alabama, and that was that. And man, I'll tell you, there was one play he made, and it was when we were inside the red zone, I think we were inside the 15, and they threw it. Quinn threw it to Gunnar on the left side, and Gunnar got hit right away. And I mean, any other big lumbering tight end, which is what he was labeled as, goes down. But he not only dragged the guy, then keeps his balance and gets it to 9 yards. So we were 1 yard away from the first down, and it made it a makeable one. Man, he is way more athletic than I think he gets credit for.
I'm with you on that. And I kind of want to go back to what DJ was saying about the receiving core. And I think Jay Hills even mentioned it last week about the speed we have on this team. Speaking of Ryan Wingo in that play, he's probably the biggest he is the biggest body we have in that receiving room, and he damn near outran the whole Michigan defense on that team. So that just tells you what type of speed we have. We're playing at a different pace than everybody else.
Got that track field in the background.
Man, and I mean, talk about spreading it around. Isaiah Bond, 3 catches, 51 yards. Matthew Golden, 6 catches, 41 yards. And he made some big plays to get first down. And I give props to Wingo on the rushing side. Let's give props to Blue on the receiving side. 6 catches, 37 yards. Man, he would have scored on that other one too if he wouldn't have tripped on the grass there. But you watch that guy get around the end, man. Jaydon's something special, especially someone who was kind of dinged up today. And then Trey Wisner with 2 catches for 19 yards. I mean, it was solid.
And hats off to Blue, man. It's hard to come back after getting nicked up. You know what I mean? This game is a tough game. So when you're on the sideline and you're really hurting, you're limping off, and you got other guys, Wisner doing his thing, Gibson doing his thing, Blue's like, no, let me get some. And when he came in, he was very effective.
Yeah.
I want to give even more credit to the coaching staff, especially to Coach Choice, being able just to coach every guy the same, because sometimes, you got certain guys out there, you're like, all right, I'm not going to, coach him this way or be too hard on him. He coaches everybody the same, and it showed up today, next man up. When he got in, we didn't miss a beat with any young guy in the game.
Oh, so impressive, man. Well, like we already gave our props to the line. I think they deserve so much credit. I mean, that is say what you want Michigan, but Michigan's defensive line is solid. They've got at least 2 NFL guys there. That defense is good, and our guys did the dang thing today. Like they really did. So props to them.
I'm also proud of the O-line that even though there were a few bumps in the roads, that they bounced back and don't let that last play as effective.
Yeah.
So I think in the past where we might have a big play and they had to come back because of flags, that it will kind of let us affect us through the whole game. But these guys just let that put in the pass and just kept the drive going.
Yeah, and we said that. We said that we can't get behind the sticks, right? Like, and the funny part is we did get behind the sticks. Quite a few times.
Yeah.
But props to I want to cover the coaches after defense, but props to Sark on the play calling and the way we would kind of take what they gave us, set up manageable third downs. Like this was a dang.
It felt like the play calling was so fluid. It was like we don't need to do anything special to make things happen. And for Sark to trust in his guys, and the guys just go out there and trust in the game plan that he's came up with.
And it worked. Everything
worked. I don't think there's not one thing that seemed like it was a little bit like a little iffy today. Everything was just really smooth.
And with Quinn's like laid back demeanor, it makes it seem like this offense runs easily.
Yeah,
like, it's like they're not even breaking a sweat. Like Quinn's just dropping it off. We getting 4 or 5 yards of pop on the ground. Like Sark and Quinn make this thing look easy.
I was excited when they kind of flipped to Quinn at the end of the first half, and he was kind of flexing on the sideline.
We don't see that much.
He was feeling good.
That swag while you're at the quarterback.
Dude, he's got it this year.
Is what carries us. When you have that kind of swag on both sides of the ball, not just offense, but both offense, defense, and even special teams, when you got to have that momentum and you have your quarterback feeling good of that day, it's like, can anything go wrong now?
Right.
That's a great point, Aaron. Yeah. Football, and we all know football is about confidence, right? And it's about that pride. If you don't go out there with that, if you don't have that swag, even though things don't always go your way, if you still got that pride in yourself and that confidence and that swagger, man, you can do some incredible things.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we've done enough on the offense, and I'm surrounded by 3 defensive guys. So I think we probably got to get into the defense. And so, Derrick, I want to turn it over to you and hear your thoughts on the defense.
Oh man, our defense is. I love that when we're able to come out and be dominant, right? And the first series was 3 and out. I mean, that's how you. That's what as defensive guys, what we say when we getting ready to go out. Yep. Hey, 3 and out, guys. 3 and out. That's the goal.
Out 3 and out. It's gonna be a good day.
That's it. And once you do that, you set the tone and say, hey, it's gonna be a tough time for you guys the whole way through. From stopping the run to getting interceptions, just to winning the turnover battle, getting some pressure. We didn't get as many sacks as we wanted to, but just pressure and just making this quarterback uncomfortable, man. They just couldn't do. It's nothing. I cannot brag on Michigan offense at all.
Yeah. There wasn't one bright spot on Michigan.
Let me tell you what they're going to be talking about in Ann Arbor.
And I think another thing was that, Michigan had a really good really good running back, and I think that was one of the key factors for Michigan, that if they can have that run game and establish that early, that it could be a game for us. But we stopped that so quickly, and then let's give total credit to the defensive backs. No big plays. Won the turnover game. Yeah. I mean, when you win the turnover game and you win the third down conversion, it's like smooth sailing.
No explosive
plays. I don't think there was a pass besides that one in the scramble where he extended the play for another about 4 seconds.
Great catch and all
great
that.
catch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just sometimes those plays will happen, but to not have that affect us the whole game. I mean, props to the whole defense.
Yeah. What I was impressed about is you go out there and you beat a team last week 52-0. How do you improve on that the following week? Like, there's not much room to improve on. Well, we took a major step this week. We did. And I'm specifically focusing on the running game. Last week, I was vocal about how we gave up a little too much leaky yardage. We weren't as stout up front as I thought we should have been. How are we going to replace Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy? Well, we shut this thing down. We pinched it shut.
And it gave us the advantage of, when we have so many 3 and outs, you bring that tired Michigan defense out. That D-line was looking tired for them. And when you go out there and you're so effective, and I mean, Muckabu was, was it 2 picks?
He had
one today, but he was flying around. Not a lot of missed tackles today. A lot of great open field tackles, which is so key. You know how key it is for open field tackles, especially when you have the RPOs and you have those screens. Man, they did a great job tackling today.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Aaron. this is ultimate team game, right? So when the defense can, or when the offense can move the ball like that, and then our defense is on the side seeing that, that gives us energy too. Like when the offense is moving, we're like, all right, bet. You know, and when it's opposite, it kind of hurts us as well. But we're working together, the ultimate team game, and just the chemistry is out the roof, man. Our defense is playing with so much confidence. I'm more impressed today than I was.
I am too.
Last week.
I am too. And what I love to see too is we played a complete game, start to finish. And what I mean by that is early on there wasn't many pass rushing opportunities. Like we had to pick our spots. It was a running game. We had to shut down this run. As soon as we got to the fourth quarter and we pinned our ears back, boy, them boys was coming. They was coming. Colin Simmons, Trey
I
Moore.
knew you'd like Colin getting his first sack, man. We got the first sack of the year.
Look, we got a guy over there. Number 11 is a guy, and I'm excited about him. But we played a complete game. Everybody was patient, and finally when the D-line got their opportunity to pin their ears back, that's when they let loose, and we kind of got to see what that pass rush is going to look like this year. I'm excited about that, and I hope it carries along with us.
I got something for Erin, knowing she played safety forever and at a high level. We're deep in the safety room, and the safeties, D. Will, Andre from Clemson, these guys are really taking a step forward today and playing tough ball. What makes a good safety play? Obviously, today was great for them, but
safety for the defense, it's those linebacker safeties, they're the quarterbacks of the defense. So have that communication and make sure everybody's aligned and make sure that everybody's poised.
So it's not just a reaction deal.
Obviously it's about reaction, but we can't react if you don't,
you don't know what to do.
Get ready to go for it. And
I
I feel like those guys, they're very communicative out there. They didn't really scatter around. They didn't act like they didn't know what they were doing. That ball,
they were reacting.
They were reacting super fast, and you could tell that they were watching the film during the week because, so many tough plays where deep balls they could have had, but the safeties were just back there. Corners are doing their jobs. It's great when everyone's aligned and everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, and any kind of slants or any kind of dig routes, anything, they were catching them, boom, and getting hit. That's
instantly.
Andrew was moving around, man. I was really impressed. Shout out to Ford because he was representing today. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I love that, man. Well, you look through the stats on their rushing. This is their vaunted rushing game, right? Like that's what they do. 23 carries for 80 yards. And they had to push for those. Donovan Edwards, 8 carries, 41. Mullings, who everybody was excited about, 6 carries, 25 yards. They took them out of, once again, just like they did against Colorado State. They said, hey, we know what you want to do. You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah,
I'm really impressed. Go ahead.
No, that has to be just kind of deflating for Michigan. We know we got to run the ball because they got a high-powered offense over at Texas. Let's run the ball. Let's lengthen this game out. Let's get some long drives. And you come out 3 and out, and you can't run the ball. You probably try to put a wildcat out there, and that's not working. Now you're in situations where you're 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10. That's hard for your offense, for Michigan's offense. That's hard playbook for them.
I'm also really impressed that the defense didn't let up.
Yeah,
hold them down to 3 points in the first half.
So
it's very effective.
That's a big deal, right?
It's a very big deal because you're thinking, okay, we're up by 20 plus going into half. Look, we can be a little bit more conservative. No. Keep flashing on the necks.
So that's the thing about defensive players, especially all of us. Offensively, second half, you're doing your thing now. We're gonna run the ball. We can chill. Defensively, you cannot chill. Hey, we want to. I know they're mad that they didn't get a goose egg. That's just how it is. You want to dominate, man.
They're pissed about that last touchdown.
You
can guarantee that.
They are.
No, that it was impressive though. But I think the talking about the turnovers too. That play Derrick Williams made on that pick was super impressive too. And that's the safety room is so deep. It's impressive to see.
And that play actually, that was a bad ball. It was low. Most safeties would be like, oh, it's a bad ball. It's down. No, I'm going to go get that ball. That's my ball.
It looked like it was to him.
Yeah.
It's like we actually wanted that ball. It's like the receivers from Michigan kind of was like lackadaisical.
Yeah, oh, it's low.
And while our DBs were like, that's ours. We're going to go get it. And that's the type of attitude we need in our defense because there comes a time where, D-line may be slacking or the secondary may be slacking, but when you complement each other, that's how you know it's a really good defense.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, last point I'm going to make is coming into the season, I think everybody agreed that the secondary, if we had a weakness on the defense, it would be the secondary, just going off of last season. these first two games, the secondary looks like our
Very
strength.
impressive,
They look like our
very
strength, man. We got
impressive.
so many different bodies and guys that can match up against receivers. Like, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're everyone out there. Appreciate y'all tuning in so far. Obviously, we're recapping Texas's 31-12 victory over Michigan. And I want to get to actually, before we do that, just make sure if you guys have questions, comments, etc., we're going to get to that at the end, and we'll start answering some of those questions. So go ahead and keep entering them. Our man Mark Higgins and Derrick Joe in the back are handling stuff. They'll have those ready to go. And so let's talk. I'm gonna go ahead and take the special teams recap, because this to me is the most important part.
There you go.
My man Bert had a tough miss at the start, but my professional critique, which is lacking, is if he would have kicked that one where it needed to go, it would have been a block kick, game-changing play. Bert saw that and decided that it was best to just miss it straight. So came back, hit his field goal, took care of his extra points, and I mean, special teams wise, I think it was a pretty uneventful day, which, that's a good thing probably a lot of the time. I think we've got such a crazy return game, though, that I'm still waiting to see when that thing opens up. And you could see it a little bit with Golden on that opening kick. There's some flashes. And, I mean, that's the crazy part. We didn't even talk about it, the wide receiver part, is we still haven't seen Silas Bolden do what he can do. And, man, when I think Sark's maybe saving him for Oklahoma, and then we've got another guy for Georgia. So we'll see.
We haven't seen Cook either.
No, that's
a lot of people we haven't
That's
seen.
crazy, man. And DeAndre's gonna get his soon.
I
Man.
know he was sick about that. I was sick for him.
Oh, I was so sick for him, man. That was such a big one. But yeah, let's get to the man. We need to spend a while at least talking about the coaches. Like this was a masterclass on both sides of the ball. And I mean, Sark called an incredible game. And the crazy part is, I don't even think he went too far down into what he was going to do, because we were executing and we were hitting on what we needed to. And Kwiatkowski, Nansen, like that defensive effort was phenomenal. So, I'm blown away. Aaron, I'd love to hear your thoughts, man, like on what you think overall, the coaches in the game they called.
Like I said, you can just tell that the game plan, it was so on point. Everything was so smooth. A big shout out to my brother and DB brother, Blake Gideon. I mean, he got those secondaries ready. And I think that was one of the issues, or one of the concerns that we were worried about last year, was how well are these defensive backs going to be this year? Yeah. And they have showed out, especially against a top 10 team playing a tough stadium in a tough atmosphere like Michigan. The linebackers played really well. Like I said, the tackling was chef's kiss to me, if you ask me. There wasn't a lot of times where they had after contact yards, and that's a big thing going against our defense.
Actually, I paused the game when number 4, Andrew, was
Makuba.
coming down. Yeah, he was coming down, and I think it was
The screen,
something like that. It was open field.
Open
And everybody in the house like, oh, it's a good tackle. I'm like,
No,
that's
a
a
hard tackle. Yeah.
Like, to close that space and, flush them up really, really good, man. My hat's off to the coaching staff, man. Just having the players ready, man. It's hard to get 18 to 22-year-old players ready to go and not distracted, going to the big house and to handle business. And we are on cloud 9 right now. But I tell you what, Sark has this canning ability to make sure everybody stays focused. He's always talking about who you are some of the time is who you are all the time. So having that standard, and like I said last week, this team plays at a standard. These coaches are holding them at a standard. This is how we play. Michigan, you're playing down here, so it's 31-12, right? So if you can't play up here and make it a game, it's just we're probably gonna blow you out.
Sark is teaching these men not to be complacent. Yes, we had a really good game today. Yeah. But let's not make that a highlight of our game. We still got a tough team next week at UTSA. Yeah. And we did really good, but there's still mistakes that we can look on the film.
Never perfect game either.
Never
right?
perfect game. It can never be a perfect game. Even when you do have a shutout, there are still little things that we need to work on. Pursuit, getting angles to the ball, and making that adjustment to next week. And the way they bounce from, even though they did have a skunk game last week, you can just tell that momentum from last week really turned into this week.
Oak, what are your thoughts, man?
It was impressive, man. I've always viewed Sark as one of the best play callers in the country. After these first 2 weeks, I got to put him at the top. There's no more one of the best. He's the best play caller in the country. He makes, it's almost like he's looking at his play sheet and everything looks good. Like every time we roll a play out there, it's going to be effective. If it's an incomplete, somebody was open on the play. Like, Sark is a genius when it comes to play calling. And I like DJ's point where he said he sets a standard for this team. Well, not only that, each coaching staff sets a standard for their room as well. Like Coach Choice in that running back room, no matter how deep you are on that depth chart, if you get a snap, if you get a handoff, there's a standard and there's a mentality that has to kick in. And you see it with every one of these dudes. And that's a compliment to Sark, and that's a compliment to every coach on that staff.
And shout outs to every position coach in the rooms. They didn't just focus on their starters. We had a couple of guys go down. The guys that came up, they were prepared as well. And we've had times in the past where we would focus so much on our starters that the starters would go down, and now it's like, oh, crap.
What are we going to do now?
What are we going to do now? Yeah. It's not like that. Everybody is prepared. Everybody does a great job of making sure they know their job and make sure they're complacent or very agile when they go in the game.
Yeah, the depth. I mean, we talked about it last week. The depth is so impressive, man. We can go so deep at so many positions, and like we continually see it where different guys are making different plays, and I'm excited to see where this team goes, and just to see those young guys step up in that. I mean, what a big moment for Trey Wisner. What a big moment for Jared Gibson. You know, Jaydon had his moment where we were. I was a little worried. I was texting y'all like, because he was he wasn't putting any weight on it, but you know he came back in there and looked great. But it's awesome, man.
Also, too, we got to talk about this coaching staff's recruiting. Like, we got two teams that lost a lot from last year.
Yeah.
Michigan, had 11 guys drafted? We had 9 guys drafted. We look like 2 different ball clubs. Like, we showed you how we retooled. And that's a compliment to Sark's recruiting. Like, we have depth across the board, and it's showing up.
Yeah, it was definitely a reload. Well, let's get to some of these questions and comments out there. If you have stuff, let us know. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Thanks, Patrick Despain, for the Malik Muhammad is elite comment. Yeah, that's a fact.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
He's special,
He actually made that interception for Andrew to catch.
Yep.
When knocking that ball out, getting his hands in there. So
well, and the funny part is he's becoming one of those guys where you don't even talk about him that much because you don't hear his name because nobody's
testing him. Yeah.
No, we saw glimpses last year of what he can do, and this year he's
as a freshman,
and he's looking locked down right now as a sophomore.
He's going to be special. And
tips and overthrows, what we like.
Yes,
and thanks, Chris B. Quinn was masterful. Sark was flawless. I love it. Let's see from Eric Gaucher. The difference in third downs was super clutch. Agreed. Said love that y'all have Aaron on. We do too. Gunnar Helm is a young Jason Witten.
I like that comparison. I really like that comparison.
It's kind of upright.
Because when you think of Jason Witten, you just think a big, tall, stout guy that's not really athletic. But when you see him play, he makes a lot of plays.
Yeah, you're like, why is he getting off?
Why is he getting off like that? He don't look like he's very fast.
Off.
He's really putting in a lot of work. Absolutely, that's a great comparison.
Really good comparison.
Rodolfo, thank you. We call that a dog walk, 31-12.
It was.
I think they're still mad that they allowed that last few points in the end.
It wasn't
they
that
dominated
close.
they
dominated the whole way, but
but it still looks good on the score. But I don't think anybody's talking about Texas not being.
I don't think they ever expected Michigan to only put up 12 points. To be honest, I think a lot of people had them go 14 over. So anytime you have the defense to hold the offense under 13 points, it's going to be a very positive game for us.
Yeah, the thing we didn't talk about too was, and we mentioned it a little bit, of going into halftime 24-3. That crowd was dead. That crowd was talking among themselves like, uh-oh.
And a lot of people out there. I mean, they showed up for their home team, and a lot of people going home mad today. Man.
I did see some orange sprinkled in there. Props to everybody who made the trip. I'm sure y'all are gonna have a fun night in Ann Arbor.
Yes, sir.
I'd head to Chicago to party though. Get out of that state.
No, you gotta tear it up where they from.
Oh, 100%.
At the big house. Yeah.
Chris B, thank you. I love Third and Longhorn. Still my favorite podcast. We appreciate that. Chris B. Did Quinn look like the #1 quarterback in the country? That's a great question.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been complimenting on him since we got on air, and can't talk enough about his poise, his leadership, the way he carried himself, even when a few penalties did kind of discourage a couple plays, but he made sure to make it up, and you can tell with the 31-12 score.
I tell you what, I kind of measure this game like when we're in the league. When you play on Thursday night or Monday night, when you have a good game, everybody remembers that, right?
Yeah.
This game, Quinn was on. He was on last week, but he was on this week. Everybody's seen it. This is going to take him a long way, man.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, Kerry Phillips. Yeah, we agree. Rematch in Austin in 3 years is going to be fire. That's definitely that's a ways off. Let's enjoy this year, though.
Okay, let's just week two. Let's get ready for the UTSA. You know,
I see Sean Cawthon, our man Sean Cawthon, who helps put this whole show together. He couldn't be here today. He said, "Ask Aaron how it feels to be a part of the show."
I mean, it feels great. I mean, just to be able to still watch the guys do what they have to do, hanging out with my former teammates, and just talking football and just representing the Texas Longhorns. It's always amazing.
Yeah,
sir.
No, man, it's been incredible. I mean, I think we got it covered unless we got more stuff coming in. I think we're good to wrap. Like,
I am.
What do y'all want to wrap with?
I'm just proud of the guys, man. Man, and we've been, we got the injury bug early or whatnot. Hopefully, we, knock on wood, that everybody stays healthy from here on out. But our team is deep. Our team is very deep, man, and just the depth is working for us. And we're what everybody's talking about right now, the Longhorn. That's who everybody's talking about. We're the hot topic, and Sark's going to keep them focused. And, man, future looks bright for us.
Agree.
Let's not get too high. Let's not get too low.
Yeah.
We gotta stay balanced. Like again, it's week 2.
So I'm gonna cut you off. I love that. So that's kind of like what they say in the preseason. It's never as good as you think it is. It's never as bad as you think it is. You just got to keep getting.
Got to keep going. You can always
better,
improve.
man.
If you think you've had a great game,
That's so true.
check yourself, because I'm sure there's a lot of NBA
Yeah. As soon as you get full of yourself,
get right back into it.
You know the coaches are going to tear this team apart. They're not going to let them. They're not going to let them be satisfied.
I like that also, that each player is keeping every player accountable.
Yeah.
And you can tell that there's not a time where someone's just chewing each other out for a play.
Yeah.
They make sure to keep that spirit up. As long as you got that motivation, that experience to go around the whole offense, defense, and special teams, keep that there, because it's a long season ahead of us.
Yeah,
And
marathon,
as long as we take it week by week, we should be okay.
Yep.
Yeah, no, this team has enough. This team has it. It has that it factor. Like AJ talks, I pray that we respect the process. I know we will. I've seen the coaching staff. Like, I've seen these players. I know we will. But we have to respect the process, take it week by week, and continue to get better each week, because we have enough. Like, we have enough to win it all this year. And I'm not going to say we should, but if we lock in like we did today, I don't see anybody that can match up with us towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and before we go, it looks like we got another question from Chris B. Props to him, man, for asking all these questions. All things considered, what does this massacre of the defending national championship way above the betting line mean for this program this year?
I'm just happy we won at 12.
Man.
Look, I think
I'm a week by week guy, because if we start getting ahead of ourselves and looking down the line, we start.
So what's his name?
Chris B.
Chris. We're especially all of us. We're really I don't want to say superstitious, but having a football mind, we don't get too.
We don't get too.
Yeah, we're like week by week, and that is a possibility later.
That's our job.
Yeah, there is a possibility later. Obviously, we keep doing what we're doing, but as a player, you got to stay in it week by week. You have to. That's just what it is.
Yeah, because it doesn't take much to get this thing off the rails.
Yeah.
So that's why we're a little hesitant to look towards the future. It's about week by week and making sure we match the same intensity each and every week.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about it at all, and we'll have another episode, obviously previewing next week's game against University of Texas San Antonio. Like it's not a game you can fall asleep on, right? And I think what I'm excited about is to hopefully watch this team continue to perform like they do, and like you said, they're not dropping down to who they're playing. They're playing their game. They're taking care of business, and they're getting out of there. And I think we have a good chance to see that next week, hopefully.
Yep.
Last thing I'm gonna say, I just got to acknowledge Quinn Ewers one more time, man. Like, from when he got into this program, he's taken his lumps and bruises. he's had those whispers about him, especially with Arch Manning behind him,
Yep.
and he's just ignored the noise
point.
and got better
Yeah.
each and every year,
Yeah.
man.
And he doesn't say a lot.
He
He
doesn't.
goes out there and
Yeah.
proves to you guys. I mean, he's not on Twitter. He's not in the media
Great
talking
point.
down or saying anything about himself. He's a leader. You can tell he's a leader by the way he carries himself and how he performs on Saturdays.
Yeah, well, thanks so much. We had a lot of people out there watching live this time. We really appreciate that. We'll put this up on YouTube so everyone can watch it, and then we'll obviously put out our UTSA preview coming up this week, and we'll be back here 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, after the game next week to talk about that. So looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody. And before we leave, props to Derrick Joe out there for producing this thing.
Hey.
Mark Higgins for producing it.
you go.
We appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all next episode. Hook 'em.
Welcome.